Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the podcast. And today's a special podcast because it's me and Reef Royale again. He should be here in a little bit. Until he get here, I want to play a song, a hip hop song, because both of us are hip hop artists. So the title of today's show is How Kanye West Reflects the Global Landscape of Hip Hop. Very significant show, people. Yes, everyone. We trying to start a show here. But it seems that we can't never get it started right. This is what frustrate me in the world. But I don't let my emotions control me like they used to. So he should be here sometime today. Last night he came and he was late and stuff. But we're gonna start this. As y'all know, I was born in Chicago, Illinois. And I knew a lot about Kanye West. At the time he was in Chicago doing hip hop. He was on the south side, I was on the north side. We never met each other, but we knew a lot of the same people. Because like I said, in 96, I started dealing with the Hebrew Israelite group known as the Israel of God. And a lot of people that used to go to that congregation or camp, whatever y'all want to call it. I don't know how they identify themselves now. But a lot of people that went there was rappers. They used to deal with Kanye. Even that first artist that he had that said went to Cash Money, he went to the Israel of God, a Hebrew Israelite church. And so I know a lot about Kanye, but I don't know Kanye. Never met Kanye. And a lot of the ideas and stuff that he has spewed over the years and stuff is because he has dealt with the people from the home of Hebrew Israelites. I would call Chicago the home of Hebrew Israelites. And a lot of the stuff he has ciphered from ignorant Hebrew Israelites. Ignorant just means a lack of knowledge. But that term alone and the things that go along with it has caused Kanye a lot of problems because he come from the home of Hebrew Israelites. So with that, he got a different backbone than most people in the industry. That's why you say they can press JC, they can't press me. I turn up. Then his famous term that he got stigmatized by is DEFCON 3. I believe he stated he would go DEFCON 3 on some Jews. Now, I don't really know what the term DEFCON 3 means. It's a war term. But I do somewhat know what it means. It's a war term that states that the world is in chaos. It's finna go into DEFCON 3. So I really don't see it as an anti-Semitic term, but it is a bigot-like terminology coming from a bigot type point of view, because Hebrew Israelites are bigots. KKK bigots, Zionist bigots. There's a lot of bigots in the world. And there's a lot of people make bigot statements. But yes, Kanye West is a hip hop artist. And if you know about hip hop, you know about groups like Public Enemy. They was also considered anti-Semitic at one time. Ice Cube considered anti-Semitic because of Jerry Heller and things of that nature. So as you can see, this is something we can talk about or we can deal with. And if Royale's out there listening, come on, man. Yeah. He happened to pop up soon I said it. Woo, thank you, Lord, because I was like, where that brother
at? I was in the behind the scenes or whatever. I'll be forgetting you got to press the button.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, as I said, my ship was sailing last night, but the wind left.
Okay. Gotcha. Hold on. Let me hold on for a sec.
As you can see, this has a lot to do with hip hop because hip hop as a culture has taken over the globe. And so hip hop stars like Kanye West influenced a lot of stuff. He's been in fashion. He did everything hip hop is into. What is it? 9 Elements or whatever KRS-One added to the core foundational 4 elements, fashion and graffiti and all the stuff that is hip hop. So when he spoke and he say this, and he's a major artist, because before he spoke that, he spoke against George Bush and he said he hate black folks because, as Kanye said, his father was a Black Panther. And then people misrepresent black people. I'm not a black person, I'm an Israelite. But people misrepresent the black community. Why? Because the black community is ignorant and has been preyed on for years by entertainers like James Brown. Y'all know the song, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Who is it you know that don't like to say that they black and they proud? Because back in the Black Power days, the Black Panthers were screaming it. That's why he made the song and everything. It was a very powerful song at the time. So powerful that it's still in the soul of my generation. Because my brothers and sisters was teenagers at that age. And I was just being born in the world, late 70s. But I got 6 siblings that was here. So, as you can see, it has a lot to do with what it has to do. So,
yep.
You want to speak,
right? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
This is my partner in crime here. People, we're gathering information. We're doing the show because a couple people hit the link last night and did some things and spoke in the chat and stuff. We need y'all to communicate with us. Tell us what y'all need down in the lower comments about the show. Do y'all like the show? Do you like the geopolitical aspect to hip hop? Because I don't think it's nobody out here doing geopolitical stuff on hip hop. West is our first conversation, but we can do this once a month, twice a month, or whatever time frame y'all would like. So if y'all would drop a comment in the comment section, we appreciate it because we're gathering information with this show. But with that said, I'm gonna shut up and let crime speak.
Yeah, just trying to catch up to where you at with it. Where you at with the conversation.
Well, I started off saying I'm from Chicago. Kanye from Chicago.
Yeah.
He's a music guy. I'm a music guy. We never met, but he was on the south side of Chicago, and on the south side of Chicago, 75th to be exact, the Israel of God was there. The Israel of God is the class that I went to and learned that I'm an Israelite. Now, more than saying that. They are Hebrew Israelites. And it's the same political thing that I seen with them and tried to, hey, y'all stop saying that because that's going to put you in the line of fighting. Because Amari Stoudemire went to the Israel of God, but him and the Jewish people was having problems because he tied himself to the Israel of God, Henry Bowie and the Israel of God, and they started looking at him funny because he tied himself in with Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
right. Is hated amongst the Jewish people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as we can see, it's geopolitical. It's worldwide because the One West camp from New York City has really dirtied up the Hebrew Israelite terminology.
Mm-hmm.
That use the terminology fall up under the poster boys and poster girls of One West Hebrew Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a pretty good look. That's why I never chose the term and used the term.
Right.
Also, I was ostracized in the community, the conscious community and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just basically, you was updating everybody on your ties to the situation. You know how you feel like the connection is there from a hip hop to a personal stance.
Yeah, from a religious, hip hop, everything that I deal with. Like I said, I don't do nothing but run into controversy because everything I did. I was telling a friend today, I was like, look up the word rebuke. You rebuke family, friend. You rebuke anyone that's doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a rebuker. I seek it. I give it. I do everything what rebuke you can do. And a lot of people haven't rebuked people about the term Hebrew Israelite. I put up a post on my Instagram today, and the dude was like, "Yeah, David was a Hebrew Israelite." I said, "Brother, I don't use that term. I use the biblical term that's in the Bible. Both
Mm-hmm.
of them in the Bible, but Hebrew Israelite, that's a compound word. It's not in the Bible. So I use Israel and I use Christian. And Israelite Christian is not a compound word in the Bible, but it makes sense because nationally I'm Israelite, and faith wise I'm a person that believe on Christ, which make me a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nah, that's solid. Yeah, just as far as I guess my connections with the brother is just more with the arts. Just as an artist, writer, producer, performer, actual illustrator, from a city where you could be easily overlooked, you know, and sometimes when it comes to even your talent, it's not like, you got to be more than talented. You got to actually have to hustle. So that connection is my earliest uh, energy that I got from the brother. Like just basically seeing and hearing everywhere I would go, every record label I would go. And the stuff I was saying was like, I'm the greatest. That was the stuff I was saying. Like, I'm the greatest producer, artist, or whatever, because people would be like, oh, you do this, you do that. And at that time, musicians would have to stick to one thing. Either you play the trumpet, you can't play the drums too. So Stevie Wonder, Prince, artists like that, usually become anomalies within the industry. So as you move on into black music and you get to a space where hip hop is all about loops and keeping it simple and move out the way onto the next, where it became really corporatized. So in that corporate structure, there's something that predates hip hop itself, not black music, but the business of what they call culture industry. So what that does, that's actually out of Frankfurt, Germany. It's a program. That's what you would call the matrix. That's what you would call the glass ceiling. And it was created by two guys that you would call Ashkenazi. They're Max Head. Their name's insane, but if you look at culture industry, and you'll see their names. It's two authors. And at the time, you know, the whole thing was they was looking at America, or the concept of entertainment from Germany, you know, through this school that produced the minds with, if you think of Karl Marx, if you think of Edward Bernays, and you think of, you know, Sigmund Freud, the Frankfurt School are basically the agents that come from that school, and they are sent out throughout the nations, throughout the world, really. And it's a psychological warfare structure that they set up. And the system for America, they set up the one called culture industry. And that was basically the blueprint to trap art, and get it to a point where you can manufacture, whether they rise or fall. And usually what they would say is, where you get, I don't want to black like you, where it's like, you homogenize. Okay, so if they comply, you homogenize it. If they don't comply, you ostracize it. So that's a system that they built. So they would get some of the art that you find amazing, and they would put it through this system of either you ostracize or you homogenize. So
So
within the,
there must be a connection with COINTELPRO because they use the same thing.
okay, so that's what I'm saying. This is the matrix, right? Meaning, like, if you think the matrix and the architects of the matrix, and you think, and I'm only using that metaphoric term when we could use other terms, but it's actually, you know, if you think Sophia Stewart, she's a black woman wrote the Matrix. So when I say that, I'm not trying to be Hollywood or imaginary. I'm saying something that was a vision of a black woman, and she basically said that there's a system, and what you can say the glass ceiling, right? And it's like, how come you know all of these amazing people and you have all of this amazing energy, and then it always hits a ceiling where it doesn't quite get past this imaginary ceiling or imaginary door, or this grid. And that system is actually, if you look it up, anybody could look it up. You can ask your AI about it. Just say, who are the authors of culture industry, or simply ask, what is the method? What is the ideology of culture industry, right? So, and then from there, because you got to think, this is like 1800s. This is the height of corporatism. This is the height of quote unquote white supremacy, right? So as we moving away from, which is all tied to this whole Kanye conversation, which is all tied to everything else. So, but sometimes we forget to look back, you know, so you can understand what's going on now. Because basically, it's just everything is just repeating, and it's just the same system. And it's like, if you don't know what you're dealing with, you don't know. It's like you don't even know how to.
You don't know your past, you don't know your present and your future, because you don't know how to carry it.
And that's how the devil disappears. You get it? So if you don't know your past and you don't know that history, the devil disappears in the detail because you're not familiar with what the problem is. So initially, if you want to go back even further, if you think about Samuel Adams, the Boston Tea Party, right? At that time in the colonies, as they were trying to bring that one of their systems, which was their capitalist system, to their colonies. Now, there was already colonies set up, and then there was another system that they created, which was capitalism, right? So as they're bringing it to the colonies, they're having these conversations about the locals. Now, the locals are indigenous people, men and women of color. And what they was writing in their journals that you can read from that time, they was like, man, the only way we can get Britain to recognize our colonies over here is if we can say that the indigenous people of the land agree with us when we're saying this is the new system that we're putting in place. So they created the Boston Tea Party, painted their faces brown, black, red, just so from the distance it looked like indigenous people who they call noble natives. These are the noble natives. Everyone knows that if there's a problem in this area, the colonists were instantly blamed. They knew. Nobody thought that the men and women whose children were seen as the brightest in the world, the indigenous children, the noble natives, the blacks that were there, they were saying that just the children alone are seen as the brightest in the world. So the whole system was trying to figure out a way to co-opt and not race, but kind of and corporatize and and capitalize on the success of the so-called new world, the so-called Atlantis that they was trying to chase. Now this whole thing, turns into another system in the 1800s when killed Lincoln. It turned into where it was say, okay, enough with this whole capitalist system, another system that comes from in where and just say instead of having to tie people up and actually have them rebel because it's physical capitalism is more per head per man. This corporatism is a piece of paper. We can hustle them out of their divinity. We can hustle them out of their self-esteem, their land, their resources. But it's because it's more.
As you see, fell off people, like I said, this is a test run of the conversation. And I think Kanye West is a good person to bring the topic to the thing because we're both hip hoppers. He's a Mohammed Israelite. It's a deep conversation, people. We might have to come back with part two. If you would like it, speak about it in the comments, seeing that we don't have number one person in the side chat. Matter of fact, let me put the side chat up so y'all can see the side chat. But I went and got that book that he's talking about because we done spoke about it before. I went and got that book, and it's an interesting book. As he mentioned, the Ashkenazi Jew, which when dealing with global geopolitical stuff, that terminology or that name will always come up.
Yes.
They've been thrown out of every country, every land, everything. It's a reason why. We'll get into that one day. Like I said, this is just a blueprint of trying to get this thing together. But go ahead, carry on.
Right, I don't know. We've lost connection for a second, but so basically, like you said, yes, it's so you always got to keep in mind that there's a specific tribe that has a specific mission for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't want to pretend like I know the exact order that was given to create that reason, but either way, there's when you say greed, envy, jealousy, all of these seven sins basically are always at the core of these movements. So greed is really how you get corporatism to override capitalism. So now with this system, and once you understand, okay, it's corporatism. So what is corporatism? Corporatism is how you get 16, I think it's 1691, 1663 or something like that, as far as New York City being incorporated. You get all your cities incorporated in the early 1600s. Now, this is while they're already planting flags in incorporating different cities and different. Now, there's already colonies, right? That capitalism run, but then there's corporations being built within these systems, right? So now, just remember, there's a colony there, but then New York is incorporated in the 1600s. Fast forward to the 1800s, the United States is incorporated. So you remember, there's already a United States, right? There's already an America. There's colonies there. Then the corporations start setting up shop in the 1600s throughout the different nations. But New York City was always the main target initially because there were so many people there. So now, again, just, in brief and fast forward with the story, 1800s, the United States is incorporated. So that system, the changeover of the system is where you get the capitalist money makers, which if you think about slavery, that was like one of the main money makers for the capitalist system. So by 1871, with the new corporatist system, the 13th Amendment turns slavery into a business, meaning like it's already making money, but now it's a corporation.
Let me jump in now because this is once again Kanye is the son of a Black Panther. Black Panthers and them was teaching this type of stuff. We don't know what all knowledge they was giving, but they was giving knowledge to other black people. Knowledge of you can carry your gun and they got to stand off from you and you got to distance and blah. They was educating the people. They was feeding the people. They was doing this. So understand when we're here talking hip hop, GEO political stuff, then we're in our niche. We're exactly what we need to be.
Yes.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes. So you have to keep all of that in mind because everything is a part of this huge web or lodge. Each lodge is a part of body politics. So corpse is a body, right? In the politics, these body politics, now corpse is dead, right? That's where we get, it's a corpse. So corporation, right? That's a dead body politics. You and I are at this moment organic living souls and beings. Now there's a new system that looks like you, that has your same name, right? Is identified with numbers, but that is the corporate straw man. That is your quote unquote avatar for that system, right? So fast forward now, 2001 happens. There's a new system introduced. It's cyberism. So everything is your avatar. Everything is a bot. Everything is there's different. Instead of you having to have a piece of paper, now you can just set up an account, a profile, etc. Right? So now these profiles are digital. The money's digital. Everything is digital. There's a new system. The money's coming in 1,000 times faster. So if capitalism was 1 shilling per man, right? 1 gold shilling per man. Corporatism turned that 1 shilling into a Federal Reserve Bank, right? So you got 1 shilling, but I got the bank. So you want to put your shilling in and I'll give you a bunch of piece of papers, right? So now the new system is like, we don't need paper. We got the entire, energy grid that we can create unlimited derivatives.
Hard drive.
Right? That you can create unlimited derivatives in perpetuity. That's what my court case is about, right? That these guys are taking my stuff and now putting it in this new grid, in this new system, and they're able to copy it into infinity, right? And try to pretend like they don't have to pay you for being their source of income, right? So now what winds up happening is corporatism is not trying to let go. There's these corporatist guys and girls in these buildings that, in this system. Now, just think when you think dead body politics, like a zombie, there is no real hard feelings because these people are moving brainless zombies in this system, right? So everything they do is about poison and killing. It seems like that, but it's like these systems are set up and were set up. If you want to say they were set up by the indigenous people that was here, all they did was like a parasite co-opt the system, poison the system. So you're used to traveling these routes. Now they done turn the route into that road into George Washington Road. You know what I'm saying? Like they just co-opted your system and set up their own system on top of your system, and then tell you forget about your system. So unfortunately, these corporate agendas are usually tied to your planned obsolescence, because planned obsolescence is their agenda. Like everything is meant to fail, because that way they keep you as a customer coming back, making more money. So when you see corporations, right, when you see corporations during the pandemic still putting on shows and telling their customers, in order for you to come see this football game, this baseball game, this concert, you got to come to our show, pull up with your Vax Pass, or show up and get vaccinated just in order to be entertained. In order to see our entertainment, you need to be vaccinated. That's what they were saying at the time. So there was multiple artists doing that without a problem. And this thing is an experiment that wind up falsely getting pardoned for it. So fast forward, right? And then you see it tied to the damn Epstein files, right? So fast forward now. Now everybody's out. Nobody's talking about that. So they're trying to figure out ways to bring it back and other ways to make money, because the other system that Eisenhower spoke about was the war system, that whole system that they go throughout the world making wars, et cetera, et cetera. Now these guys are still in position, and they're corporatists that still, have this way of making money by causing problems, and then you buy weapons for them that make problems, and then they build it back and cause more problems because they built on a road that water is not supposed to flow. So, water usually flows, and then they, flood out a town, etc. So strategically, everything is done to make your life inconvenient, like to inconvenience you and yours. So you have to always remember, like somebody who's like, I want to eradicate them. You don't side with that motherfucker, man. You just don't. If he's telling you, yo, come to our thing, we're going to give you a free inoculation. And in the same sentence, he's talking about eradicating you. Why do you trust him over me? Why did you trust him over anybody who spoke about, these people not being trusted in situations like this, because they have a system of toxicity that is meant to eradicate you? Like, why would you trust them? You don't make their job easier. Like, you don't make things easier for you and your family to suffer more in this system already, right? So anyway, now you have today, right? So now at the same time as the music is running, because the music is entertainment, is the only thing making money in this system. Music and movies and video games. You know why? Because when people are in panic and people are in fear, they feed off of that and they financially benefit from it. How? Because people drink, because they're scared. That's an excuse, right? And how else do they capitalize off of the fear? Well, guess what? People want to just, wash away their problems. They done came from a hard day's work, et cetera, and they just listening to their music, playing their video games, anything to escape from the chaos of life, right? So during times of fear, war, et cetera, entertainment.
Quick question: where we headed?
Was that?
Where are we headed with this?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna bring it back to, I'm just how everything is tying into right now and today. So just, keeping all of that in mind, that the war machine, corporations, and there's a new system in place, which is the cyberists, right? So two things to keep in mind, that I'm trying to at least say, is that the corporations that are pulling out of the young man, out the bus, the young man, this is my age, out the brothers show, these corporations cause diabetes. These corporations cause all type of actual physical problems, right? Liquor, sugar water, and all types of, like, these companies cause real problems and are saying something he said is a problem, is more of a problem than the problems that they cause with their chemicals right? So how are the corporations now the moral high ground? So we went from the noble natives, right, to now the corporations are considered the moral high ground, that everybody's like, oh my God, because they have the money, the fake money, when you was always the valuable one. Like, you was always valued, right? So now you can see that, because all of the products that, when put in the right position, when Kanye's in the right position, guess what? These products move because he's valuable, right? So they see the value in us, move their products. So now they're trying to shift us into their system, into their tech system, where there's another level on top of the corporatist grid. So that's why at this point where I say, oh, Roy algorithm. That's how I branded my one of my brands is that, because everything that we've been speaking about is a part of the early supercomputer that was learning the algorithm. So everything that was moving, they was actually gauging the data, because data is the new oil. So that's why when we're doing these shows and things like this, everything strategically is about search engine optimization, everything now in order to build a certain currency, because
About it, because it's no more CDs. It's streaming.
but look at this. You
DVD
see,
is streaming.
to be fair, like there was a point in time where everybody started printing up their own CDs, making their own money with their own CDs, and then right as the artist gets control of his own destiny by printing up a $20 or $10 or $1 CD, everything is a stream where you get a fraction of a penny. So you went from $1. Now, when you go, where you gonna play the CD? There's no CD players in the car no more. There's no CD players that are basically mainstream manufactured like that anymore. Everything is niche. So, but although people are buying records, and $1 billion plus was made from printed up records, like actual wax or the new method of printing records, as whether collection items or whatever, that it made $1 billion. Now, our music overall is moving the needle of the economy. Our music is the top.
Not music, the culture.
No. A fraction. I'm just saying, without even getting into the whole culture alone. We just gonna go to this part right here, like just this little section, right? This little section that it's just without brushing over that little section, it's generating so much money that I think Michael Jackson might be the reason is a ceasefire, because that is going to make a lot of people a lot of money. That Michael Jackson movie, right, he's like Michael Jackson is basically Spider-Man at this point. God rest the dead, because they done did his show in his story already before it was successful, right? And now they're redoing it. That's like, whoa, you done did, like, you can't do Ray Charles' story over and over, but Michael Jackson's story is guaranteed going to generate just as much money as Black Panther.
They got a new chapter. People saving children.
Yo, they're going to. No, listen. They're not going to. You got to think like a businessman, right? So outside of the nonsense, I'm saying outside of the nonsense, that is also fuel for people to see what they do. So think about the people that's showing up to see something negative, and people that's showing up to see something positive, and people showing up just to show up. So there's a lot of money invested in making this movie, right? There's a lot of money that was made from Sinners. Sinners ain't Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about all the movies that was released. Michael Jackson is still the #1 seller. So if you are a Saudi Arabian prince and you got any type of investment in this, or some, Israeli Hollywood owner, like, they like, man, if you don't chill over there with that minute, you don't want to scare people away from showing up to the damn theaters. So to me personally, that's why I'm like, I think they at least have to pause it in this space, and they're gonna try to, get they crazy little bros to chill a little, put on pause, because that they don't really care. Is they like, yo, they gonna put that in there? You know what I'm saying? Because it ties to this, because before Kanye, it was Michael Jackson when he sang They Don't Really Care. So when I say it, people be like, yo, Michael Jackson said that. And I'm like, he was right. So I say it because he was right. This ain't like I'm trying to copy him. I'm saying he was right. And certain things in society, you got to say what reality. Well, if it's real, you shouldn't have to apologize for reality, right? So that's why everything that I say, I'm like, I'm not apologetic about anything, because I'm not saying anything that isn't a fact. And I don't think anybody should be saying anything at this point that's not fact based, because they play so many games with these quote unquote moving goal line rules that they can say, yo, you said this or you said that, and that's not true, because they changing the narrative consistently because they control that narrative and they can keep altering it. And now with the AI, it's getting even crazier. So
Okay, so I'm a little ignorant. So what we dealing with right now?
okay, so I'm saying like all of that at the same time ties into the whole Kanye conversation, the geopolitical conversation, the church conversation, the nationality conversation. I'm saying all of those things are layered in this. If I
Yeah.
uh, a way to consolidate all of this is just I said a lot, but at the same time, when you listen back to it, I feel like I just spit a verse or something like that, and people listening back like, "What did he say? What's that?" You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna just say, listen back to it. Everything ties to it.
Music on these shows, they don't want to play it in public.
You said what's that?
We making some Machiavelli music on these shows. They like we can't play
Yeah,
it in public.
yes. I know for a fact. Yeah, yo. See, that's why. That's why I covered you, because you be basically yes. It's basically this was a Machiavelli one. This was one of those. Like,
It's hip hop. Hip hop was
yeah,
rebel music. It was
yeah,
rebel music.
right.
The culture itself.
Yeah. Listen. And just saying that, not to cut you. You know what I'm saying? Not to cut your wisdom, fam. Like the thing is, it's supposed to be the rebel music, but what happened during the pandemic? Show up with your vax pass. That's rebel music. That's rebel. That's what the conscious. That's what the culture. That's what. Nah, that was corny. Folded. Hip hop failed during the pandemic. A lot. Not just hip hop. Music failed. The arts, the entertainment, everything failed during all the corporations caved in because that was the corporate agenda. Now, anybody that went along with it, that's where you folded at. That's where the failure was at. So all of these people for so much and for so long that seemed like they were standing on business, and everybody said, yo, when things get real, what was 2020? What was the pandemic? Psychological warfare, biological warfare, real warfare. And now to continue it on, they like, Pepsi is pulling out because they have a moral emotion about something he said. Pepsi? Not diabetes Pepsi, is it? Like the same diabetes, drunk driving companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Are you serious? Like, now, the brother performed during the pandemic, so the people had to come up, the children had to show up to his show vaccinated. They was getting vaccinated at the show. To get in the show, they had to show up with a vax pass. Now, these are children, right? So these are corporations and artists that took advantage of their celebrity, that took advantage of people who really were showing them love and support, and they got them sick. A lot of these children, you're not going to hear from them because they're going to be drowned out by the other corporate noise and the other tech agendas. So so this is
statement right quick. If y'all don't know, you're dealing with the two of the realest people known on the internet, Rick 4L and Carl Allen. Been kicking up dust for years. If you didn't know, do your research. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, AI is at a point where it makes correcting a mistake easier and faster to do, right? So we shouldn't be making too many conversational mistakes in this day and age. And I would say, having the at least awareness that there's consequences for some of the activities that they might try to encourage you to do, whether it's drinking sugar water or doing something that is counterproductive to your health and well-being, because in the long run, you can look it up faster than we was able to get encyclopedias. So there's no reason for nonsense to be driving on for too long, but I'm sure we'll have a lot more to talk about because 85% of the people went with the nonsense, which makes that whole 85-10-5 conversation ring really true. So
let's backtrack a little bit. What is the terminology of the book that you was talking about earlier?
Oh, culture industry, please. You can listen to it on the audio. There's people who have done synopsises of it. I basically gave you the bottom line of it, which can actually get you in the mindset of knowing what you're listening out for. What he said, homogenize and or ostracize your art. Like, as good as you may be, as great as you may seem, the whole point is either homogenizing or ostracizing that work of art. So things that you love, why did they seem to get worse? Planned obsolescence. That's a part of the system. So they have to change that as their bottom line, or things won't change. Things will continue to get worse. And we're at a point where things don't have to be worse. Things could get better. That's what I'm saying. AI is making it easier to correct mistakes faster, right? So obviously we can see, because the curtain is pulled back, we're on the wrong track. You can see it now. There's no reason for somebody to be driving in a nice car when you can actually have that as a job and rob somebody of $10. You got a car and a $3,000 gun. You're driving around with a whole business, right? And they're taking from the little guy. That is the system. The system is doing that. The United States is rich. Israel's rich. They're rich countries, corporations, rich corporations.
I want to pull up this, and you tell me.
Taken from the small guys, taken from the small countries. No reason to do that. But I hear you.
I'm gonna put this up here because I want to see which book or whatever you're talking about. Can you see?
Culture industry. Spell it culture industry. Just put Max or Donald.
I see it. I see it. Can you see the screen?
A little bit. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, which one is the book?
It should be. I believe it's a red book, red cover. But again, you can just, if you type it in your Google search, as far as the YouTube videos of people summarizing it, you can, but if you just want to get the book itself, it's definitely, smart to at least read it for yourself. But at the same time, if you can't do that, because I'd rather they spend the money on our show. But look up the book, listen to the book, do whatever you got to do, get the information that you need so you can know that it is real. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not a a conspiracy. It's a fact.
At the thing, is this the one or this one? I'm looking at red books.
Well, culture industry, Max Adorno.
Okay, I'm looking at Max Adorno.
Yeah. So if you see it, it could be red. Like, I don't it could be a different cover, but long as you see culture industry, and then it has a subtitle that I can't quite remember, but Max Adorno is one of the authors, and these guys are basically the psychological warfare agents that created the blueprint for what we're dealing with today, as far as
my hands in the peace sign and putting them to your eyes. This book, New York Adorno, the cultural industry. Can you see on the screen?
I don't got the big TV thing yet. One day I'll get up to speed, and there's no way I can see all of that, but possibly.
Okay. Well, the thing is, we're trying to give the maximum. I can't think of the term. For people watching this.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
We want them to know the book, be able to find the information and stuff. So what we giving them today is they gonna respond in the comments and say, "Man, I bought the book. I did this. I did that." So Max Adorno, how you spell that?
Max, MAX, right? And then Adorno is ADORNO. There's another guy, and I can't remember his name. He has like a funny way to spell it, so I don't want to mispronounce it. Theodore, yeah. Theodore something. Herzlwich.
I think I done found it.
Max Adorno and Theodore Herzlwich, something.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this off the screen. I done found it for myself.
Good.
See, that's the thing. We gotta get out here and get this information and share it with people. So yes, it was the yellow book. You couldn't see it, but it was the yellow book.
Okay. Yeah. Dope. So yeah. Just leave in the comments. Let us know. You know what I'm saying? If you think we could do this once a month, once a week, once a 6 months, let us know, how often you want us to chop it up like this. It's very few people that I feel inspired to speak to, and it's always good chopping it up with you. So peace to the people. And of course, if y'all can tap in with some of the new music from Reef Royale, RIEF, Royale, RAWYAL. That is the new music is coming through there. RoyaleMusic.com. You can always go to the website RoyaleMusic.com, RAWYAL music, spelled the correct way.com. And from there to lead you to the different social medias. But yeah, holla at us. I appreciate the people for taking time to listen, look up that information. Peace.
Yeah, we gonna be doing this, people, and coming back. I'm gonna bring Dollar Skill over, and we're gonna deal with prophecy. See, geopolitical stuff is a big niche, people. I was just a Bible man, but then I looked at it as I'm an Israelite Christian, and how the Israelites have so much in geopolitical landscape. If you know what geopolitical stuff is, it's landscape, it's where you live, it's everything, what you eat, what you consume.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the industry, the culture industry. And that's what the people in power deal with. They try to get you out of your comfort zone.
Say that again. You said what? Say that again. You said that's what. Say that again.
People that got money and trying to have power, that's what they deal with.
Yes, the people in power deal with this. That's like when you talking about checkers, they not even talking about chess. They playing Othello, flipping everything from one way to the other way. Othello is like that. Learn that game. That's the game we playing. We're not playing checkers or chess anymore. We already on to Othello. Look that up so you can know how to play, and then you'll understand a lot more of the things that I say, or we present.
Because what this conversation, the geopolitical conversation, is all about is shifting the paradigm. If you know what a paradigm is. And we're put in the paradigm when we born. Because they take you out of the womb and bring you to shore. And you become merchandise.
Mm-hmm. How about this for a paradigm shift? Neo, John Wick, is now playing Reef. How about that? That is a crazy paradigm shift. Trump is talking peace with Sharif. How about that? How about look at the timing on that? That's crazy. It's crazy. Salute to Keanu. But yeah, that's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, y'all, it was a nice little album. Like I said, this was a building show. We had to just do it once. Now we're gonna listen to y'all in the comments. Y'all gotta comment. You don't want to comment? I ain't mad at you. You want to comment? I'm happy to get the information about how to move on and move forth. So y'all creating our paradigm when you comment.
Exactly.
So we just said we finna get off of here and go build and wait for y'all comments.
Peace.
Peace.